Welcome to the most irregularly host podcast on the internet, Cheese La Vida. I'm your host, Mike Dalton. Got a guest, although he should really just be called my co-host at this point, Nathaniel Pippin.
Hey, yo.
We just binged the very first season of South Park. Now, some background. I'm a huge South Park fan. In elementary school, that's what I watched when I couldn't sleep because I'm a fucking weirdo, so obviously I was a weird child. Used to stay up real late, watch Boomerang and whatnot. South Park was part of the program. When I was switching channels, 58 was Cartoon Network. Comedy Central was somewhere in the 20s, so late at night I'd just go down a couple channels. Here we are then talking about our favorite animated cartoon, favorite animated adult cartoon, I guess you could say. I'm not sure what I like more between this and Looney Tunes, but South Park's very important, to say the least. We just binged the entire first season. We're doing a podcast now. Nathaniel, what did you think about it?
Well, season 1, the first episode was like super cruelly put together.
Yeah, that was still cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, that's all they used was straight up cardboard. And to be honest, I'm proud of that. That's cool. But it was dope. I liked the whole season. There's little tidbits in each episode that I want to talk about, but we could get into that and we'll go from there. The whole that season, give it like a 9 out of 10.
So that actually brings me into, we'll just shoot ahead a little bit. In 2002, Jeremy Conrad of IGN wrote in a DVD review that it is rare when a television season is perfect, quote-unquote perfect, but quote-unquote the first season of South Park comes pretty damn close, and that quote-unquote every single episode in this 3-disc set is a classic and each is still funny as hell even after so many viewings over the years. So, would you agree with that? You just said it was a 9, so pretty close to perfect is, what you could call something that's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say pretty much perfect without being perfect. It is perfect, just the first episode, but I can't diss the first episode because all that's really doing was that was their first fucking episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess we'll start with there then. So the first episode's the weakest of the season.
Yeah, definitely first episode.
Like by far.
By far.
All right. I would probably agree with that, but let's look through all 13 episodes of this season real quick. Cartman Gets an Anal Probe is the pilot, first episode. That's the one we've both said is the weakest. Yeah. Volcano was next.
Well, the episode was good.
Well, yeah. Now, just saying that something is the weakest in a season doesn't mean it's a bad episode. It's just, out of 13 episodes, that's the 13th one. That's the one you skip out on. That's the one you're like, eh.
Right.
So, the pilot, Cartman Gets an Anal Probe. Second episode, Volcano. Third, Weight Gain 4,000. Fourth, Big Gay Al's Big Gay Boat Ride. An Elephant Makes Love to a Pig is the fifth one. Death is 6. Pink Eye 7th. Starvin' Marvin 8. Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh 9. Damien 10. Tom's Rhinoplasty 11. Mecha Streisand 12. Cartman's Mom is a Dirty Slut 13. So, those are the 13 episodes. Jump to insane popularity super fast. The first season was a rating success for Comedy Central. The Nielsen ratings rose from 1.3 to 6.4 from the first to the 10th episode. Several episodes received award nominations, including for a 1998 Emmy Award in the Outstanding Animated Program for programming less than 1 hour, and a GLAAD Award in the Outstanding TV Individual Episode category for the episode Big Gay Al's Big Gay Boat Ride. During the season, South Park won a Cable Ace Award for Best Animated Series and was nominated for a 1998 Annie Award in the Outstanding Achievement in an Animated Primetime or Late Night Television Program. The show was a financial success for Comedy Central and helped the network transform into a cable industry power almost overnight. Despite this, critics gave the season mixed reviews.
Haters.
I mean, pretty much. From my perspective, knowing what came after, this was definitely the crudest the show ever got, but pretty close. Like, in that first episode, they say dildo like 7-8 times.
Yeah.
Just because dildo.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I know a certain kid who was sleeping with mommy tonight. Yeah. Good shit. So crude humor, definitely got more nuanced as the show went on, but this season was definitely a lot of crude humor, a lot of fart jokes. I mean, Mr. Hanky the Christmas poo.
Quite frankly, this is probably the funniest season out of all of them, and 6.
This season?
Yeah, season 1 was fucking hilarious. And you know what? I really wish they went back to that crude humor, because that's what South Park is. It's 4 8-year-old boys who are foul-mouthed and who know
defiant.
You're very defiant. I mean, for God's sakes, Cartman you could pretty much call Cartman a re-embodiment of Adolf Hitler. That's a fair argument.
Well, he does idolize him in Pink Eye.
Yeah.
7th episode from the season.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just, it's crazy. You know, I wish they really went back to that kind of, like, maybe just for an episode or 2 to see how people would react now.
Oh, I don't think it would fly.
You don't think it would?
Not at all.
Okay, so, no, I don't think that's true, because in season 20, where it's PC Principal.
Yeah.
Cartman went into the bathroom with PC Principal and took a pair of Butter's underwear and stuck it in the urinal where PC Principal took a piss. So, and then pretty much accused him of being a pedophile. So,
but here's the thing. This is season 1, that's season 20.
I know, but I think if the crude humor, maybe for an episode or 2 to see how they would happen in, like, season 22, further on, to see if it's a possibility of bringing that kind of style back.
And I guess that's not a crazy thought, but my whole thing is, you really got to put things into some context. I mean, this is 1997, 98. Matt Stone and Trey Parker are cokeheads. Straight just sniffing lines at this point, animating things. They just graduated college. Those 2 shorts, what was it? The Spirit of Christmas and Santa versus Jesus or some shit.
Yeah.
Those 2 shorts got them noticed by Comedy Central, who was doing nothing
at the time in the late 90s, showing reruns, just clinging by on the basic fucking cable. Yeah.
You know, so they could kind of get away with some shit. They were the smart, I mean, people can't see the air quotes I just did, but they were the smart college kids who made, crude humor. Beavis and Butthead, Ren and Stimpy. It was the late 90s animation. That's just kind of how things were. A little edgier, but I just don't think if they took that mindset that they were in back then and applied it today, because, yeah, they do things like PC Principal then, but I don't think they would have ever made PC Principal back in the late 90s. Because they were more concerned with making episodes about helping your grandpa kill himself.
Right.
And adopting starving African children.
Right.
And calling them Starvin' Marvin. Genetic engineering. Bestiality. I mean, an elephant fucks a pig in the 5th episode of this season.
And then the pig at the end of the episode had the baby, and it came out looking like Mr. Garrison. So that's where he got the bestiality from. Mr. Garrison fucked a pig.
Yeah, so like, that's what a bunch of cokeheads did in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Now today, they're making smarter choices. PC Principal, things like that. They're telling full stories. This is the very first season, and they're just going in there.
Yeah, they're going ham.
I mean, Jesus is in a boxing match in the fucking 10th episode with the devil himself. I mean,
That was tough, by the way. And then everyone. See, I don't know what their religion is, but they kind of like the.
I think they've come out since this season and said that they're Catholic. Actually,
that's the thing. There's little hints on how the episode's gonna progress inside the actual episodes, and they don't say it. They do it with props, and I think it's super dope. So like, Hitler and Jesus, or Satan and Jesus. It's the final showdown. It's the end of the world, and then they end up boxing each other, and then everyone puts bets on, who they think are going to win. So everyone's like, fuck yeah, Jesus. And then, they did the weigh-in, and Satan's got 280 pounds on him, and everyone's like, oh. And they all run back to the bookies and put all their bets they had on Jesus on Satan. So, they do...
Except one person.
Yeah. They do things like that all the time, and I think it's hilarious. Oh, and then Satan bet on...
Jesus!
To win, and he won, and he got a shit ton of money. So he knew Jesus was going to win in the beginning because Jesus always wins, and I just thought that was phenomenal. That was probably the most clever writing I've ever witnessed in my life.
Oh, shit.
Satan knew he was going to lose, and that was the plan from the beginning. Send Damien, right? Damien gets Christ to come out. Satan shows up. Satan puts a bet down, and he didn't... I don't think he lost intentionally.
He did kind of throw the fight, because remember... Yeah, because Jesus lightly tapped him.
Oh, and then he fell.
And when he got to 8, when Michael Buffer, who, by the way, co-hosted as himself, George Clooney did the same thing 5 episodes prior as Sparky the dog. With that being said...
Tough pickings for Clooney back in the day.
At the 8 count, he opened his eye and then closed it again when it got to 9. And then at 10 he got up and everyone booed the shit out of him. And he was like, "You fools, who do you think placed the bet?" So, I think that's the only time the South Park writers made Satan not gay.
Yeah, after that, I don't know when we see Saddam Hussein, but I don't remember what episode it was. I'm really sure we didn't see Saddam Hussein until the movie. I'm like almost positive, but I'm not sure.
We see Saddam in season 2 episode, the season opener, but we're gonna get to that when we get to that.
Saddam Hussein dies, then he goes to hell.
No, technically he does die and then go to hell. But he's still alive in the season 2 opener. But like I said, we'll get to that when we get to that, because season 2 was supposed to be opening with the conclusion to Cartman's mom is a dirty slut, which is the last episode of the season and probably the most famous one, right?
Yeah, I would say
I mean, it's the one...
It's
the one I've seen on TV the most out of all these season 1 episodes.
Yeah, there's 3 big ones.
Especially after 2008, because I think they hit a second wind around that time. Yeah. Around 2006, they hit another popular mainstream media second wind when they started to get popular.
2010 is when I think the rumors were going around that Comedy Central was done with them. And
yeah, because they did that episode in the next season, the next year, where everything was shit, and that's all Stan could see. But once again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Yeah. So, it was supposed to end with that, and we'd find out who Cartman's dad was in the next season. But we'll just end there. And I guess we'll just start with that episode. How did you feel about the season ender? I mean, because that, like I said, I think that's probably the most well-known episode.
Cartman's mom's a slut.
Yeah, Cartman's mom's a dirty slut. I mean, she did fuck the whole either 1989, 1990, or 1991 Denver Broncos, according to that episode. Yeah, whole team.
Ran a train on her. God, I love South Park. I thought that was dope, because I'm like super excited to talk about what happens in the next season, but I won't get ahead of myself. It was super funny because Cartman wanted to figure out who his dad was. So
yeah, how many shows, by the way, in that time span tackled that? This is the first season
that talked about not having a dad.
Just an adult theme like that. I mean, the 90s was a golden age. Do not get me wrong. The 90s was a golden age for animation.
Yeah.
South Park came in the later 90s.
Honestly, I don't think a lot of people...
But did The Simpsons tackle shit like that?
No.
Exactly. How many shows did? Just South Park?
Probably more mainstream television shows with actual actors.
I don't think so. Maybe The Fresh Prince.
Probably.
When he didn't have a dad and he showed up for that episode.
Yeah.
But is that it?
Uncle Phil? Yeah.
And why is The Fresh Prince the only one? Anyways, we'll get back to South Park. So we have this show that tackles with fatherhood, but it also plays jokes on honestly, it just plays jokes on racism, because Cartman thinks he's Native American when he finds out maybe his mom fucked Chief Running Water.
Yeah. So he dresses up like a honestly, like, the way he dressed was, like, very traditional.
Yeah,
like,
and this is the same kid who dressed up like Hitler.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Like, in an episode or two before that.
Yeah, what is this, the 13th? Pink Eye was the 7th, so, like, 6 episodes before that.
Yeah.
And they addressed that in Mecha Streisand, the episode before, or 2 episodes before Cartman's, or is it the episode before?
Before My Mom's
Let
Horror?
me pull that up.
I think it's episode 12.
Let me pull that up again. In the... How many episodes is it? Because in Mecha Streisand... Yeah, Mecha Streisand's the episode before Cartman's mom's a dirty slut. The TV anchor is doing a thing on how South Park survived mutant turkey attacks and zombies and shit. And then that's when Mecha Streisand shows up and demolishes the whole town.
Here's a paraplegic Polish guy on a donkey.
Swiss guy.
Swiss guy.
So
paraplegic Swiss man.
They reference all the crazy shit that just went down, and then they deal with this in the very next episode.
Yeah.
And it's played for jokes, but is it? When you think about it?
I don't think that episode was supposed to be a joke.
Like, there is jokes. The white guy who's talking shit this whole time, dressing up like Hitler, he gets a greater cultural appreciation once he realizes...
that it's a possibility that his father could be a minority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genius. But it's amongst this episode where his mom's a whore.
Yeah.
And she got ran through by the fucking Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I mean... It could have been Chief Running Water. It could have been Chef, which would have been dope. It could have been Mr. Garrison.
It's great when he West Side, yeah.
West Side. Yeah, no, the moonwalk I would say is flawless though. His moonwalk. Eric's when he was walking away.
You think that's a little hint to Chef in the Thriller for the Pink Eye episode?
Probably. That was a smooth moonwalk. I would give...
Smooth writing.
It probably. It's probably a nod for it. I wouldn't doubt it.
Wouldn't doubt it. So, alright. I guess we'll just get back to these episodes as a whole then. So, Cartman gets an anal probe. Weakest episode, right?
Yeah. By far.
I mean... I guess we see the characters in their crudest state, and that's what I mean by this was definitely the most crude episode, because you notice as things definitely past, I guess starting with season 3, which both the creators have acknowledged was the beginning of their storytelling, because in these, especially in this first season, it's definitely this group of guys, Kenny dies, and this is what they're reacting to. But we do get great things out of it. Alien abduction is the whole basis for the first episode. Natural disasters and family quabbling is Volcano. And by the way, let's just address Jimbo. It's coming right for us! Forgot all about that shit.
Yeah.
Forgot all about
that. Was funny.
That's a good joke.
What'd you say that for? Well,
the Democrats.
The Democrats don't allow us to kill certain animals anymore. So we gotta say that every time. It's coming right for us. It wasn't coming at us. I know. You just gotta say it now.
Now, they're definitely left-leaning in this episode because Jimbo and Volcano, and I think it's fascinating. Before I get ahead of myself, I think it's fascinating that as Randy and other adult characters became more of the fold in later seasons, Jimbo is definitely, him and Mr. Garrison are definitely the most influential and biggest factors in these children's life in this first season. Because he's the only adult I see regularly. I mean, we see Randy in Volcano, but he's not...
That's his first appearance.
It's not only is it his first appearance, because it's Jimbo's first appearance too, and he's clearly established as Stan's uncle, but Randy is not established as his dad.
Yeah, which means they could have taken it in any direction. Like,
exactly.
Stan doesn't have a dad, he's got an uncle.
And that's another thing. We hear Mr. McCormick during the, what's the episode? What's that episode called?
That was the one where they were trying to get terrorists to fill it.
Oh, yeah. That's the B plot to death.
Yeah.
That 6th episode. We'll get to that. It's just... They very clearly don't have everything established yet, and they're figuring it out as they go along. And that's that crude humor, because they don't have this world established. They can't tell stories, because I don't know if they even know these characters all the way yet. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. That's fair. They just started. They're making up random characters. They got the 4 main characters established off-rip. I mean, kind of, sort of. And then each character...
Kind of, sort of? What do you mean by that?
They have them established, like, okay, well, you got Cartman, you got Kenny, you got Kyle, and you got Stan. Okay, Stan, we don't know his last name, so we don't know if he's related to...
I think they do say Stan Marsh at some point. I think the only one by the end of the season we don't find out their last name is Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny.
And like I said, they slip in Mr. McCormick during that death episode. Which is why, like I agree, they didn't have everything established. But
That's
when you say kind of, sort of, I just want to further establish on what you think they did have down pat. So maybe I can kind of go off what you think.
Right. Well, what I was trying to get at is, I mean, like, we still don't we really didn't know who these kids were, or a lot of the characters, until like the 3rd episode, in my opinion. We didn't get to know what they were about, like...
No, the 3rd episode was Weight Gain 4,000.
Yeah, so we kind of we found out Cartman's a retard.
Not only...
racist retard.
I think we just established the racism during Pink Eye.
Right.
He literally dressed up as Hitler. But, I mean, in the 1st episode, the only real problem is he's oblivious to his own faults. I mean, like, he thinks what happened to him is a dream. All the things that come out of his ass are, like, just made up. Oh, come on, you guys, you can't scare me. Like, he's just kind of, if it's not something that someone else did and it's his fault, doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. In Volcano, he pretends he's a Vietnam vet,
Which
but
is
like,
shitty.
Is it really that?
I mean, it's like I said, this Vietnam thing. I mean, it's funny. Okay, yeah, I remember using one of these in Nam. Yeah, that's cool. Now they're walking around. He's getting more into it. Oh, I'm having flashbacks. Charlie's in the trees, bro. That's you. Okay, listen. I know a lot of Vietnam War vets. That shit is something you just don't talk about, man. He's just my new boss that I just got this job with, right? He was a Marine in the Vietnam War. And I tried to bring it up. I'm like, thanks for your service, stuff like that. And I'm mentioning, I'm like, is it true that they really were like hiding all over the place? They had traps everywhere. Were they hiding in the trees? And he just had this long blank expression on his face.
1,000-yard stare?
Like he just saw a ghost. He was like, I don't really want to talk about it. And I was like, you know what? Okay. I was like, that's simple as that.
Let's drop it.
Yeah, I'll drop it, bro. You don't got to talk about a single thing. I will walk away, and I will see you tomorrow.
So, in any case, his character flaws just get worse. Because in Weight Gain 4000, he's a plagiarist.
Yeah.
Completely steals Henry David Thoreau's Walden.
He's a piece of shit.
Big Gay Al's Big Gay Boat Ride.
Right.
He, let's be honest, the whole town is pretty homophobic.
Yeah, and these, like, the first, like, 6 seasons, 5 or 6 seasons, they're really, really homophobic.
Now, do you think it's interesting that this one received a GLAAD award for being tolerant to gay people because of the message that you should just accept people? Because remember at the end, Sparky, who, once again, George Clooney did voice.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking because they were making fun of it and being an issue, but at the end they resolved it because Stan learned a life lesson.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, I think that was a good thing.
So you think as a whole the episode is okay?
Yeah. Most definitely.
You would show this to a child going forward?
Well, it depends on how old that child is.
Well, let's say that child is, I don't know, us, 7 years old, watching South Park.
Yeah, most definitely. You want to know why? Because our generation were a bunch of fucking retards. Literally, the Three Stooges came out with a remake, and at the beginning of the movie, they had to have a warning that everything's fake in here, then you don't have to reenact it. They didn't have to do that shit when we were younger. We weren't stupid enough to hit ourselves in the head with a hammer. You know what I mean? But now you got to. Yeah, definitely. Our generation, I would definitely show a 7-year-old this.
Okay. So, let's see. An elephant makes love to a pig.
I would definitely show a kid that. That's the funniest shit in the world.
Do you think the humor would be lost on some of these kids?
If it was our generation when we were younger, no. Today's generation, yes.
Now, do you think a lot of that is the pop culture references? Because I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't remember a lot of these people that they joked about, and I think that's the biggest downside to the first season.
Well, when we were younger, I bet we knew all those pop culture references because it was relevant at the time. Now, going back and watching something from
97
yeah,
to 98.
it's like, oh, fuck, who's that? I don't remember. It's like, but back then we were
Doesn't that hold it, though? Doesn't that hold it back? Because
no,
it's not relevant.
No, not at all. Just because something's not relevant doesn't make it not funny.
Okay.
With the Joker in it, the good one.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you? It's 2018, clearly not relevant, but one of the best and funniest Jokers of the time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's still probably one of the best Jokers. I'd put him under Heath Ledger.
What about the bad cuts?
And that's just either they weren't trying hard enough because they didn't think they were getting past season 1, or they were just so drugged out all the time that they were just like, yeah, this is a good cut. Let's go quick. Switch to another scene. You know, I think that's one of those two. We'll never know though.
So you're forgiving of those pretty poor cuts?
Oh yeah, it's probably because they were fucked up.
Because I think I saw in one scene, I didn't say this while we were watching, but there's one scene where Stan removes Sparky's handkerchief.
Yep.
In that Big Al's Big A Boat Ride episode. And then it cuts back to Sparky while he's like, sit, shake, those instructions.
Yeah.
It cuts back to Sparky, and I believe he's wearing the handkerchief again.
Yeah.
And when it cuts back to him, it's gone. So, they obviously took the shot of him with the handkerchief and forgot to put the shot with him out the handkerchief in that spot.
Yeah. Like I said, they didn't try hard enough. Or this is their first time doing it on a professional scale. Maybe they were nervous.
Oh, it definitely was.
Maybe they were nervous.
Because did we bring up the shorts? Yeah, I think we brought up the shorts. So, they were broke college students. They put out this short on the early internet that people pirated and downloaded and whatever else you want to fucking call it.
Yeah.
And they got an offer from Comedy Central, nobody's at the time, to put out episodes of South Park. They quickly animated 6 episodes. Let me pull that back up, Ruben, real quick. The first 6 episodes, so up until death. So Cartman gets an anal probe, which was still cardboard cutout. Volcano, which was animated. So Cartman gets an anal probe is the only episode that's made with cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Oh,
I mean, it's very cheaply made compared to everything
Well,
else.
I mean, they came back and did.
They came back
And
a
did
week
that
a week later. Literally a week later. August 13th, 1997. Cartman gets an anal probe. Volcano, August 20th.
They did that
A week
episode,
later.
though. The first one, they redid it with more stuff added to it and, like...
Season 7.
Yeah.
I remember that. We'll get to that when we get to that.
No, I'm just saying. So, I mean, that's where it kind of gets forgiven. Like, yeah, fuck it. It was cardboard, but they remade that.
So you don't really give a shit that the first episode's probably forgettable in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Okay. So, Volcano, weight gain 4,000. That holds a special place in our heart.
Yeah.
Beef guy! Big Gay Al's Big Gay Boat Ride. An Elephant Makes Love to a Pig, Death. Those were the other episodes in that first 6 batch.
Yeah.
After that, that's when Comedy Central ordered, hey, we need you to finish out this season. People like this. They gained a steady increase in viewership, which climaxed in, I believe, what was it they said? Damien? It may have surpassed that with the season finale, which I wouldn't doubt because that's just how things work on television.
Yeah.
But in any case, by the end of the season, they got most of their viewership. It topped out around 6 on the Nielsen rating.
God, Nielsen.
Yeah.
That's old.
Yeah. You know what's fucked up is about a decade ago, Nielsen would still be like one of the default ratings for viewership.
This shit was crazy.
And like how people are viewing things.
Yeah.
So, in any case though, that first batch, it's a little different from the second half of the first season. I mean, because what episode was it where I was like, I'm starting to see the first pillars of the South Park format starting to form?
6.
Was it?
I think
So,
you said that in episode 6.
did I say that at death?
Yes. Was that 6 or 7?
That was 6.
Okay.
That was the last episode of the first batch of episodes they gave Comedy Central for this season.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Because the first 6 episodes all came out a week after each other, and then there was a month break in between episodes up until episode 10, which was Damien, and then everything after that, so Tom's Rhinoplasty, Mecha Streisand, and Cartman's Mama's Dirty Slut came the 3 weeks after Damien. So all in February of 98.
Yeah.
Everything, because Cartman gets an anal probe up until, what is it? Death came out from the middle of August to the middle of September of 97. Pink Eye came out in late October next to Halloween. That was the first Halloween episode we got. A little under a month later, Starvin' Marvin came out. Mr. Hanky came out a little under a month after that. And then that's when we got the last 5 episodes. Or 4 episodes of the season.
Right.
So the format at some point started to become more clear to me. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Now, how would you break down their dynamic and how it kind of changed over the first 10 episodes?
It started off with the characters not being established. We don't know who they are. They start to slowly build, like telling the first Jew joke and saying the first fat ass joke.
They didn't say Kyle was a Jew until damn near...
Mr. Hanky, the Christmas Jew.
Yeah, that's when they established he was a Jew.
Yeah.
That's the 9th episode.
My point. It takes a while for them to progress, like, through this whole, like, it's like they did the episodes, like, so they come out with an episode. All right, guys, you got a day to do the next episode. Oh, okay, let's do this. We'll just add, oh, yeah, you know what? Kyle could be a Jew in this episode. Oh, Cartman's going to gain 800 pounds because he thinks weight gain is just to give him muscle, but in reality, you got to work out with it. Great ideas, you know? And you could actually, even with all the jokes to Mr. Garrison, you could slowly start to see, even before the jokes come out, that he's gay.
How could you see that?
How could you?
Because Big Ale's Big A Boat Ride's 4th episode of the whole series, and that's the one where they first imply that Mr. Garrison might be gay.
Okay, what episode was the zombie one?
The 7th.
The 7th? Okay. Episode 1, okay, 2, 3, and then you said which one was Big Gay Boat Ride?
4.
4. Mannerisms, the way he talks.
He does have a puppet.
Yeah. Well, so typically with puppets, right, if we're thinking in the real world here, he keeps it on his hand 24/7. That's not normal. And I'm not insinuating like, oh, if you got a puppet on your hand your whole time, you're gay. That just doesn't make sense.
There's no correlation.
Yeah, there's absolutely no correlation at all. But the reason he has the puppet is to disconnect himself from being gay.
Correct.
So that's why Mr. Hat's...
what I thought too.
Yeah, that's why Mr. Hat's gay. So, that's the thing.
Which is, in this season,
and he talks...
eccentric.
Yeah. And he talks about pound and sniz, like, yeah, oh, I do this, I do that. Yeah. It's like, bro, guys don't really talk like that anymore. It's not...
I don't think guys talked like that back then. That's why when he's like, oh, I just do that to get chicks, Chef was like... He just gave that look like, what?
Yeah, nah, bro, you're gay. It's okay. It's not a big deal. You know, Mr. Garrison, you're gay? Fuck yeah, dude. That's dope, you know? You went gay, straight.
Well, that's the whole point, really, of that episode.
Yeah. Pretty much, man. But, like I said, I kind of knew, like, if I was watching South Park from the very beginning,
right? When did you start watching?
Huh? When did I start watching? First time I ever watched South Park was... the movie. My sister Paige showed it to me. And it was 2004.
Okay.
Yeah. So I saw it in 2000. I saw it in 2004. So it's phenomenal. But if I didn't see any South Park and it's 1998, 97, whatever, and the first episode dropped, even being as young as I was, actually, I wasn't even born yet. Or I was born, but I was like 3. But
3?
Yeah.
More like 1.
1996. Oh yeah, you're right.
97.
Like 1 or 2. Let's just say whatever. I'm 6 or 7, and I can comprehend logical thought. And there comes Mr. Garrison. Off rip, I would have known he's gay. Just because of how he acts, and it's cool. I don't mind it. You know?
You're saying it's human nature to recognize that.
Yeah, if you're straight.
Is that what?
Just like
South
a gay
Park
guy
implying?
can recognize a straight guy.
Is that what South Park's implying?
I don't think they meant to imply it, but they did imply it.
So, do you think then that South Park has contributed to the rise of a quote-unquote alternative lifestyle?
I don't like the word alternative, because it's not.
I
know what you're trying to say. It's like a respectful way of saying it, but we can't argue being gay anymore. It's biological. You're literally born gay.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So saying alternative is like
So you don't think they're a factor in that?
What alternative? What do you mean?
Just
South Park?
people being more comfortable.
Saying it that way, or just in general.
In general.
I don't think South Park had any factor in it.
Really?
Yeah, I think for the top...
Okay, just based off this first season, you don't think maybe more people may have been... yeah, I guess.
So, we're talking about
based
the 90s.
Based off this first season, I'm not sure if they may be...
The 90s
now that I'm thinking
was a horrible fucking time for gay people. A horrible, horrible fucking time. I could literally name a bunch of movies that would show how gay people were perceived in the 90s, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. One of my favorite films of all time, Kids.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God, they
There's
treated
that
gay
scene.
people horribly in that movie.
Yeah. They're. How many people are there in that fucking group in that park scene when they're all buying blunts and
It was like
it shows you how to
9
roll
or 10.
one and
Yeah,
shit?
they're calling them like.
It might be like up to 25. That was a big ass crowd
Yeah.
of people just calling them like disgusting names.
Yeah, it
And that
was
was
fucked up.
95, 6.
Yeah, horrible time. I think. You know what? I take that back. I think South Park
So you don't.
was
That's
trying
what I'm saying.
to
You
make
don't
it
think
better. I think they were trying to lose the stigma of like, dude, they're just gay. It's just how they are. Call it a day. You know what I mean? South Park, very progressive for its time. I think they were like, and you know what? They showed it in that episode with Sparky, where Stan was like, you know what? It's okay. I don't care if you're gay. You're my dog. I'm gonna love you forever. You know what I mean?
So you would say the gay joke, because remember, people got very upset at these jokes. I mean, there were so many people offended by this very first episode because, like I said, this was South Park at its crudest, but it was also South Park at the beginning.
Yeah, it's the realest.
It's the genesis. It's, yeah, the realest it's been, I guess, because that would be the voices of the creators saying, this is what we believe would make a great episode. Whereas, like, something in the future would be based around a current topic or some sort of political issue.
Right. I mean,
this was South Park definitely at Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and this is who we think they are.
Right. I mean, even later in a lot of the seasons later, I don't want to get too ahead, I mean, they still tackle these kinds of subjects.
But it's not really as togetherness, like as tightly knit as these first initial episodes, really.
Right.
Because, like I said, I can see the format developing with death. The four kids have to deal with something that's, you know, a problem in society, or initially something that's their problem that the audience, if they're smart enough to realize, is a problem with modern society. And they have to deal with that, they deal with it, things go away, they learn a moral maybe. What episode was it? Was it Volcano? That you said I can see the beginning of these little rants where they learn something at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, Kyle and I mentioned it today. This is purely from every episode, what do they say about Kyle? Or Cartman says about Kyle. It's one of his gay little rants, is what Cartman says. So it was the beginning of Kyle and his fucking rants on, oh, we need to start changing as a society, and we need to do this, and I learned this today.
The liberalization of the American people,
yeah,
if you will.
I mean, Kyle's always been the passive person, unless Cartman pushes him over the edge. No, it'll be okay.
And
we'll be fine.
And that's another thing.
He's a pushover.
Cartman is he says hippie, pussy, liberal, I hate them. You know, like, he's supposed to be the anti-authoritarian figure, and Kyle is always supposed to be the left-leaning figure.
Yeah.
The quote-unquote adult, if you will, from their perspective.
Right.
And then Stan is the moral guide in Kenny Dies.
Yeah.
But go on.
Well, that's the thing, man. You know, we learned real early on, like, with that one episode, oh, that's what Kyle's going to be. Okay, cool. And then we learned with Cartman, like, oh, okay. So in reality, these two are the most hated and the most loved. They hate each other, but they love each other. You could go as far as saying they're best friends who hate each other.
And it starts in the second episode.
Yeah.
That's what you would say?
Yeah, most definitely.
I would agree with that, because Volcano definitely.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker, from the beginning, were like, yeah, these two guys are going to be best friends, but we're going to have them fucking hate each other the whole time. You know?
I mean, that's genius, I suppose.
Well, that's how guys talk to each other. There's a lot of, like, for example, my mom's like, when I talk to my dad, I'll be cussing with him, and he'll be cussing at me, and I'll call him something stupid, and he'll call me something stupid. My mom will be like, why do you guys talk like that? That's just how guys talk. You know? We don't show, like, oh, yeah, I love you, man. It's like, no, fuck you, dude. It's like, you're a bitch. All right, bro, you want to go get a beer? Yeah, sure. You know, that's how we show love, and that's how those two...
That's kind of how Carmen is.
Yeah, that's how they show love towards each other. And it's fucked up, but they're best friends. Even as much as they hate each other through every episode, they're best friends. And Matt Stone and Trey Parker were like, yeah, that's how it's going to be. Because I bet that's how they are. You know what I mean? So.
Things only got better from here?
Yes. See, that's the thing. Most people will be like, oh, I hate this, I hate that. Okay, well, you saw it on the internet or you saw it on a commercial and you chose to watch it because you saw something that triggered you. Now you're all pissed off and complaining about it. You don't got to watch it again. It's life. Get over it.
Move on.
Yeah, exactly. With the animation, dude, it was the fucking... I mean, there was only literally one thing that you could pull out of human history that had amazing animation that could hold up until now, and that's Looney. Dude, it was the late 90s. We had a lot of problems with Iraq, and Matt Stone and Trey Parker had the nuts, bro. They had the balls to bring Iraqi soldiers to the United States and arrest a woman. First off, Iraqi soldiers in the United States arresting a prisoner of war? No, bro. That's not how...
Science fiction.
That is not how diplomacy works in any country. And at the time, if Iraq was like, yeah, you have a war criminal of ours, we would have been like, fuck you. You know, that's how it would have went.
So you're saying don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, don't take it too seriously at all.
Have a great day.